All right, folks, Brian Blessing, glad to be with you here in Las Vegas for VegasInsider.com. And it is our NFL Week 6 opening line report. Hodgepodge, jumbled mess, games being all moved around, some crazy results, and, of course, the Dak Prescott injury, which was gruesome. So a lot that we look back on in Week 5 and then tailor it into Week 6. Now, there was no Thursday night game. The Chiefs-Bills is moved to Monday night in the sincere hopes at the time of this taping that the Tennessee-Buffalo game goes on Tuesday. The first game we were talking about will be Houston at Tennessee. Tennessee a 5.5-point favorite. Houston gets off the schneid. They get a win against Jacksonville. Obviously, with O'Brien out of there, Cornell running the show. Watson's a solid player. The Texans at least feeling a little bit better about themselves. But this is a Tennessee team you got to watch because they got to shake the rust off. Hardly any practice at all to gear up for the Tuesday night game with the Bills, and then still trying to shake the rust off heading into this next week's game. And in that 5.5 spot, that's that quirky deal. Pending how Tennessee plays in the Tuesday night game, number that could go up or could go down. Let's go to Cincy and Indianapolis. Colts laying 9.5. Total on the game is 45.5. Indy, they just run hot and cold. To me specifically with Rivers, I do like their defense. Ran into a tough Cleveland team that is just playing some great football right now. Now Cincinnati, Burrow, I think the future is extremely bright, but I think you see he's going to have his moments, good and bad, but he really struggled against Baltimore on the road. Could be a tough test against this Colts defense. You may see 10 in this spot. Then we go to Atlanta and Minnesota. Minnesota's 3.5. And now waiting till we get at the time of this taping, I think you're going to see this number go up because of the gritty effort Minnesota puts forth on Sunday night at Seattle. And Minnesota, I just want to say this, one of those teams that we talked about before the season started and said, look, you are going to have a couple of teams that just don't fare well out of the gate. They're going to start slow with the weird training camp, no preseason games. I think Minnesota's a dangerous team. Cook got nicked up. Madison, a very, very serviceable backup. And then, listen, the Falcons get a running game with Gurley, and then Ryan throws a horrible interception. It's a dog's breakfast in Atlanta. And Quinn, see ya. Let's go to Washington and the Giants. Giants 3.5, totals 44.5. First of all, Alex Smith back on the field. What an incredible feel-good story this is. Boy, that leg injury was just grisly. Kyle Allen gets knocked out of the game. It was great to see Smith back. Will he be the starter this week? The Haskins deal pretty much over. The Giants, though, showed so much against the Cowboys. Now, I know the Cowboys' defense is porous. Jones made some big plays. Heartbreaking loss for the Giants. I think this is a number that likely goes up. And I can see 4, maybe even 4.5 by the time this thing goes to post. Baltimore laying a touchdown in Philadelphia. Tough to, go on the road against anybody. Pittsburgh beat Philadelphia. Eagles gritty seems to, Miles Sanders is looking good. Wentz is looking better. No disgrace losing to Pittsburgh. Baltimore handled very easily Cincinnati. Boy, do the Ravens have an easy schedule. I think that's a good number. Sits on 7. Don't see it coming off that. The total on the game maybe goes up a half point, maybe to 48, maybe 48.5. Cleveland's at Pittsburgh. What a game this is. The Browns 4-1 against the unbeaten Steelers at 4-0. Steelers were listed at 5.5 before the games were played. 4.5 the numbers now because the Browns are playing some great football. Full marks to them. The Steelers, listen, they've got the running game, play action, Roethlisberger. They're doing good things. What a great game this is in the AFC North. If anything, I can see the total maybe going up a half point or 2. And listen, there's always in Vegas lots of love for the Browns. They've been taking professional money for a long time. Number could even come down. We go to Chicago and Carolina. Who'd have thunk that you'd have the Bears at 4-1 and the Panthers at 3-2 at this stage of the season? Carolina 3-point favorite. Total in the game is 43.5. Bridgewater's playing well. Bears physical, gritty. Foles doesn't set your hair on fire, but the Bears just compete. That's a good number. I think it sits right on 3. Honestly, the total seems to be the right number as well. Let's go to Detroit at Jacksonville. Jags got thumped by Houston. Number was 2.5 for Detroit coming off the bye. It's up to 3. Probably sits on 3. Another week for Galladay to get healthy, which I think will really help that Detroit offense. Then we go to Denver and New England. New England, a 9.5-point favorite. This game was postponed. Both these teams, it's a bye week. Well, wait a minute. They don't get any time off. These guys practice all week before the game was canceled on Sunday morning. I think you're going to see a lot of running in this game. Melvin Gordon for the Broncos, Newton and whomever running back by committee for the Patriots. But it's the Patriots. You may see 10 in this spot, but I think Denver will try to shorten this game. Locke could be back. Jets are a mess at Miami. Miami laying 8. That number's going to go up. How about Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Dolphins going on the road and absolutely taking San Francisco to the woodshed? Pretty impressive. You know, the Dolphins, they compete. You got to give them full marks. Interesting game, Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Green Bay's won on the road. Both teams are going to be fresh for this one. Green Bay off a bye, Tampa off the Thursday night defeat. And the total on the game is 51.5. Brady and Rodgers, that total's going up a point or so. And then let's go to Sunday night football. And we'll be looking at the Rams at the Niners. Now, the Niners were listed as a 3-point favorite before the games were played. You know, Rams go east, Goff goes nuts against Washington. And they're now a 3-point favorite in this game because the Niners were just destroyed by Miami. Garoppolo looked awful. They don't know whether to go to Mullins. They don't know whether to go to Beathard. They've got the running game, but boy, something's amiss with San Francisco. But there'll be money on the Niners. This number will come down below 3, likely to 2.5. Total, though, 49.5. I think you could see that number go up. Now we end up with a Monday night doubleheader. Let's start with Arizona at Dallas. Dallas, a 3-point favorite. Arizona gets the W against the Jets. Not impressive, but a win's a win. Total on the game is 53.5. It's going to be the Andy Dalton show now. Again, horrible injury. Just sickening to see Dak Prescott go down like that. But listen, you give a guy like Dalton a lot of practice with good wide receivers and you've got a running game. Don't be surprised if Dalton doesn't play pretty well here for the Cowboys. Now, Kansas City and Buffalo. KC was a 3.5-point favorite before the games were played. They get wiped out by the Raiders. How about the job Gruden and Derek Carr and company did, and Ruggs in there stretching the field and going deep? What a show. Mahomes and Josh Allen waiting on a total in this game. I bet you it's in the high 40s. Bottom line is that number is now down to 3. KC favored in the game. Let's see what the Bills do against Tennessee. But they were going to play on short rest against each other on a Thursday night. But what a showdown this is. And honestly, if the Bills were to get the win here and go to 5-0, back-to-back losses for the Chiefs would be almost unheard of. Big game in the AFC and a really fun Monday night game that's added to the Monday night doubleheader. These will be high-handle games. They'll be a lot of fun. And there you have it. It's the opening line report for you, Week 6 in the NFL, with a lot of teams having their schedules jumbled around, weird games. 8 games were ultimately moved. And I think Week 18, let's hope we get that far, but Week 18 looks like it's going to be a real thing in the NFL. I'm Brian Blessing for you in Las Vegas for VegasInsider.com with your Week 6 NFL opening line report.